welcome to A New View. We are so glad you joined us. We are Restored Ministries, and we have our special guest and friend, Lisa Roitsch, filling in for Stephanie.
Hi.
We hope that you are enjoying this new year. We are just a few days into the new year, and we wanted to talk this week about New Year, New You. Talk about some resolutions in the second episode, and then maybe touch on some fasting and some tips. But right now, we're just going to talk about a new year, a new you. I mean, are y'all excited about the new year?
Yes.
I love the fresh new calendars and the
Yeah.
planners and all that stuff. I don't want to like a reset. I want to build on, what I've
There you
already been
go.
growing in the year. So it's like I don't want to have a redo, but I love the fresh blank pages of calendars and day timers, and I just love all that.
Or getting a new journal for 2018.
Yes. A new routine, a new kind of things. Those are the things I love about the new year.
Yeah, and I love leaving my Christmas tree up so the lights can shine on me while I write in my new calendar.
Yeah, we already packed ours out.
I can't let it go yet.
You can't let
Mine's still up. I can't quite get there yet. Maybe next week.
Yeah.
My daughter was a little delayed. We got it put up, but we're real simplified. I mean, it took literally like less than an hour to put up, less than an hour to take down. So it was nice. But we still have the lights on outside and some of the little Christmas decorations outside that we'll put away in another week or so.
I just don't want to let even a hint of the joy leave yet because it is that, we have sun now finally, but January is hard. So a little extra light goes a long way.
And we've gotten sunshine today. I mean, it's been really cold.
Yes.
This cold snap and kind of dreary in those clouds and things, but we have a little sunshine.
Thank goodness for the sun.
Yes, and heat.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
Well, I read something recently, and it was like one of those phrases or quotes that just like, it was like the nugget drop, like mic drop, and it has been something that has just been percolating, and just like I think about it every time. But it says, you'll never possess what you are unwilling to pursue.
That's good.
So that's saying on so many levels. And I thought, I mean, there's so many things that we want to possess, but are we really willing to pursue them or give up? Give up on them. So I know like some people have like New Year's traditions. Do y'all have that? Like, do you do certain things like certain foods?
We always eat black-eyed peas on New Year's Day.
Where does that come from? Someone else just mentioned it the other day.
I Googled it because we had some people over and they had never heard of that tradition. So it is something down in the South.
Okay.
And it signifies just wealth or abundance. And so, it is a superstition, but for us, it's just a tradition. I don't even think we eat black-eyed peas any other time of the year except for on New Year's Day.
Right. And we used to do it every New Year's. I used to make this huge meal, and my husband's family would come over. I mean, back in the olden days, I would do like real Southern, the fried cabbage, and then cornbread. And then I started reading that so many different people have traditions, and like you had to have something round, like an orange. I would do the cornbread round in my cast iron skillet because it signifies wholeness for the year. There's all these superstitions. It means like different things, like the black-eyed peas are luck, cabbage is wealth, and things like that. So we did none of that this year. I mean, I used to even like break up the peppermints from the Christmas tree and make peppermint ice cream, all this stuff. I mean, I used to go all out. And my husband and son had gone out of town. They came home on New Year's Day and, on New Year's Eve. And he was like, "You're not doing black-eyed peas?" Here, his uncle had some cabbage from his garden. I have some cabbage. I go, I'm not going to do that. We actually went and had Mediterranean food, him and I. And then, the kids were like, no black-eyed peas, no cornbread. So yesterday, I'm like, okay, I'll make you your cornbread and your cabbage. But I still didn't do the black-eyed peas. But this was the first year I didn't do the black-eyed peas.
So you're from up north. So do y'all have traditions up there that are unique to
I'm
the
sure
northern?
lots of people do. I can't say that I know of any.
Okay.
We didn't really ever. No, I think we would take the Christmas tree down that day. That was our family thing. My dad couldn't wait to get Christmas away, so we did what he wanted. But for me, I think we would, the last few years down here, down south, we would sit around kind of I had these little Post-it notes, and everybody in the family would get a stack of them and a pen and just kind of write something that happened, like a blessing or something good, something they want to compliment someone else in the family on, and read them New Year's Day. So that was nice way to start the year.
Yeah, that's good. You were sharing that on another episode. I like that. I love that.
My hubby always makes us write out goals. So by January 2nd, we all have to have our goals written down and submitted to him. So our 3 girls and then Bill and I. So we do financial goals, personal goals, and spiritual goals for each year, and we write them out. And he saves them all.
Oh wow!
And so right before the new year, like after Christmas, we'll read the goals that we had made for that year to see if we made our goals. But that's another tradition we have, is that we set out goals, and he has trained us to be very specific. So you have a goal, but how are you going to attain it? Kind of like what you were saying about pursuing.
Yeah.
So you can have a goal, that's great, but you need to even go one step further and write out, how do you plan on achieving or attaining that goal, like steps.
Yeah, because there's a little formula, because actually next week on the show, Stephanie, we're talking about goal setting 101 and doing the goals and some cute little things that help you, like, measure your goals. I used to be a big goal setter and do those things and do them, and then I kind of got away from it, and then I really have just things that I want to improve on in the year. But the last few years, I've actually prayed and asked the Lord for a word.
Yes.
Like, what is the word this year? And usually I'll tell them, let it jump off the page. Let it be on everything I read. And last year, it was really getting late, and I was like, I haven't got a word. And then he gave me resolve, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I really like that one too well. And then it was on everything I read. But this year, my word is honor. And he brought it to me a couple of months ago, and I was just like, that's maybe my honor. And then our big keyword was dig deeper, so I like that. But I was like, honor. And then he brought me to a couple of verses, and so I thought, you know what, this is the 2018 is going to be my year of honor. And I broke it down because, in the Greek, I think honor means to value. And I thought, okay, I can value the dreams and purposes and the plans he has, the visions, the people in my life, value the temple he's given me. There's a lot of things that I can value going in and making it a whole year about honoring. And then, of course, just, because a lot of people make, health goals and things, and I love 1 Corinthians 6:20 is God bought you with a high price, so you must honor God with your body. And so I'm very vocal. I have a tendency to kind of vandalize my temple a little bit. I don't always take the best care of myself, but I was really like, you know what, I really want to take that, because he doesn't say maybe you should, maybe you might want to. He says, no, you must honor me with your body and your temple. So then I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna focus this year.
Not just your word.
That's not just my word for my temple, but in all aspects, and valuing my time, valuing His word, valuing His presence,
honoring your time. That's good. And relationships, honoring relationships.
That's what I mean.
Valuing
honor. Yeah, that's my word, honor.
I know there's that teaching by. I came out of Bethel, The Culture of Honor by Danny Silk. I don't know if you've ever read that.
I haven't heard that one.
It's really good about establishing a culture of honor within your home and within your church or your business.
Oh, I might have to read that.
Yeah, you might enjoy that.
Yeah. So what's your word for this year?
Self-care.
So self-care.
But which is kind of similar to honoring your body. So, just learning to take better care of myself in all ways, body, soul, and spirit. And I think for my temperament type, I focus on other people a lot, and I've kind of worn myself out and burned out some things. I've been sick for a couple of weeks, and I think it's because we just go, and we don't take time to take care of ourselves.
Yep.
So I'm going to do self-care. That's my focus.
I had a really hard time, being with the twins, and I did everybody and put me on the back burner.
Most women do.
Yeah, and I still have a tendency, and then I thought, I was doing a pretty good job of it, but then as things got busy, then I wasn't in some areas, and I'd kind of backed up a little bit in some of the things. And so, that's good. All right, Kim, what's your word or your focus this year?
I'm gonna pick a word for what I think it is, because it wasn't clear. It wasn't written on a wall for me or on pages, but I think it's trust. And it's not people so much as I've talked a while back about not judging people. We have a tendency to see someone's situation, especially the closer we are to them, to think, okay, I know everything, I can assess that situation. And that is so flesh, like to not just trust that something will get taken care of. And I've had a lot of struggle with a lot of family in 2017, where I've had to look at them and say, okay, certain individuals, seasonally. Y'all were in my season for 40 years, and maybe now it's okay if that fruit just went rancid and maybe it's not in my basket anymore right now. And that's not, it is spiritually entrusting that God has his hand in it, that he's not mad, that I'm not mad, that they're not mad, that it's just a move on. And it's because it's some family, it's really hard to just say, okay, yeah, that's all going to be okay, but I think it's trust. That's why I think it's trust. Just trust.
That's good. That whole hold on loosely to anyone and everything but him. I mean, I learned that in a season. I really had to. I mean, I had some issues not only with just, family, friendships, connect different things, health, all this stuff. And I was just like, I had to really trust him that no matter what he moved out, that I knew that he had my best interest at heart.
Yeah. And I felt like, like you're holding on to that metal ball and it's going down and under the water and you're going with it. And that hold on loosely is what just brought that to my mind. But I've turned to music. I've soaked a lot lately, trying to,
that's good.
Not sink.
Yeah, that's the best way. I was a little anxious, here, Houston traffic and driving, and I was just like, I was getting myself worked up, and I was like, no, you can do this, you can do this. And so that's what I had to do this morning, turn on some soaking music and just really, and I'm telling you, within just a few moments, it was like that whole atmosphere cleared, and I was like, okay, I got this. I was a little stressed out, but I made it, But that soaking is just, just the music. I love that.
It's like a breath of fresh air.
It is.
Lightning.
It is. So that sounds like what I'm learning to do is deep breathing and starting my morning off with just getting still. And I love to soak with music, but what I've really been aware of is learning how to sit in silence with myself and with my own thoughts.
Yes.
And practicing deep breathing, so I'm oxygenating my body and filling up all my cells with fresh blood, and just how calming that is. And it also enables me to think a lot clearer about what I need to do that day, or what I've been reading in God's Word, or a specific book. Just taking those deep breaths. So for me, that's part of my new self-care regimen that I'm doing every morning for at least 30 minutes, just sitting in silence, practicing my deep breathing and meditating on God and good, positive things.
That's good. And I actually changed my habits and things, because usually I can't wait to have a new devotion for the first of the year. And I give a lot of devotions as gifts to my friends and family. And I'm always like, I love a new devotion every year. And I have some. And it was just like I couldn't find the one that I wanted this year. So God has me doing things a little differently. I am actually practicing kind of getting still and letting Him, what is my first impression of the morning?
Yes,
sometimes it's
good.
a song that's just stuck, and do I need to unpack those song lyrics? Is it a phrase that's kind of just been, put in kind of like, you'll never possess what you're unwilling to pursue? Is it a phrase that's just kind of rolling around there? Write that down. Sit in the silence, also paying attention to my dreams, is there a person I dreamed about, is there a pattern, is there a specific color, is there a specific, and just really, and so it's really been different. It's been really different. So I've been kind of excited, kind of like, wow, this is kind of a different new habit, tradition, kind of a preparation than I normally have.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get locked in the habit of the alarm clock goes off, or however we wake up, and we hit the ground running. And we don't take time to do self-care, to tap into our spiritual being part. And that's what I tell people all the time, that I think we've gotten backwards in our society is, first, we are spiritual beings. We have a soul, and we live in a body. And so my body has been breaking down a lot lately. And what I'm seeing is there's a correlation with my physical body breaking down and getting sick with my spiritual and my soul. and it all is tied together, and I need to pay attention to all three parts of my being and take care of all three parts so that I can run like a well-oiled machine.
Right, because I get a little out of balance when I'm really focusing on my spiritual and my soul health. My physical health, I will put on the very back burner, and then it's just like, no, I have to find a healthy balance.
Healthy balance.
Healthy balance, and things. And it says here too, expectations. A lot of people will put these high expectations, like you were just saying. I've got to read so many chapters to read the Bible in a year. I've got to spend X amount of time here. And it's really, we're putting, we got to work out this much time here. I got to do this, do that. And actually, this is the first year where I'm not overly scheduling.
Wow.
Even though I have like 5 day timers and planners and things, I'm thinking, why did I buy 5? I had this one for the blog, this one for this one for, little ideas. But I thought, wow, I have 5 of them. And I have this cute little one. I'm thinking, I don't want to mess up your blank little pages, but I'm like, I'm not finding myself this year to be overly scheduling out.
That's good.
So that's a plus for me.
That's huge. So you're starting a new rhythm.
Yep, I have a new rhythm this year.
I like
That's what's great about the new year is I feel like you can be intentional about starting a new rhythm for your life, for your family, for your career, your ministry, whatever.
Right.
It's like we get a do-over.
Exactly. And not only that, because some people are just like, they can't wait for the year to end because they're like, they want something new. But I'm always kind of like, I'm not so excited for the year to end. I like the newness of a new season and the new calendars and a new routine and all those things. But I like to also reflect and say, okay, this is some things that I did fairly well or didn't do so well last year. How can I build upon those? Because so many times people will just be like, didn't work, stop, don't do it, or, we'll change it or do something differently.
Well, if you consider it a do-over, at least you get to go into it with a year's more wisdom.
There you go.
That's
it's all in perspective, right?
Yeah.
I have more wisdom than I did last year.
That's good.
Because we get wisdom from experience and failure, and it's good.
Yep, good.
It's all about growth and transformation.
Right. And I think that's what I had a friend that was talking about, like she was saying that she didn't always wanting a new. She says, I want to just keep going from glory to glory, that growing. I don't want to have a do-over. I just want to keep building upon it. And that's me too. I want to build upon it, but I do like the newness of, just new season, new season, new opportunities. But I don't know what it is about those blank calendars and the blank day timers. I just love that.
Yeah, you're a visual person, it sounds like.
Yeah,
so
pages.
that does something for you visually
to
be able to see. Yeah.
I don't know how to make a good segue for it, but there's a little something I want to share. I was talking a while back about Gretchen Rubin, knowing yourself. Having your commandments to yourself, making sure that you.
Oh, that's good.
The only way to guide yourself is to know where you are, so you know where you're going. But she has in her book, Better Than Before, the happiest and most successful people are those who have figured out ways to exploit their tendency to their benefit, and just as important, found ways to counterbalance its limitations. So it's not about looking back at 2017 and going, well, I'm a huge procrastinator, and then just don't accept the label and kind of let 2018 fail for the same reason.
Right.
But know yourself enough to say, okay, that was a problem. Here's how I'm going to twist it and make it work for me. It's your problem, so you can twist it if you want. It's okay.
That's true. And it's kind of all back to that perspective,
Yes.
If we have a higher perspective, a heavenly perspective, we're not so much down here focusing on all the, and I love that because, some people practice, like we're coming up here in another month or so, the Lenten season. And some religions, practice that. All, just Christians practice that, giving up something, but not just giving up, but also just replacing some habits or factors with something that's good. And so I like that because if you focus on what you cannot have,
that's right,
or what you're restricting, or what you didn't do well, you're just always going to kind of have that lower perspective. It's always going to be like,
Exactly.
Yeah, but if we're looking up and saying, okay, my husband's real good about, and I don't know where but he got this, but always you'll say, oh, this and that, and he goes, but he always finds the little plus in it, like, hey, but at least you didn't have that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right on that, so I tend to, I'm much better than I used to be, but I used to be one of those people that worst case scenario I went to, and I can still find myself in those types of struggles sometimes, but worst case scenario, oh my gosh, the shoe's going to drop, this and this and that, and he's always like, well, no, this didn't happen, look at the one little plus sign. So
well, don't you think, and you mentioned this on expectations, that we can create our own reality based on our expectations?
Exactly.
So whatever we're expecting can then become our reality and what we end up getting. And so we have to be careful with our expectations.
Right. And that whole mouth to line up, because I love it that you're a big, declare, call those things that aren't as though they were, and let our mouth get in alignment. Because like I said, those expectations, we talked about a lot about it on the show, unmet expectations, really that's when anger and resentments come in, because the unmet expectations, we're not really voicing them, or we think that we are, and that's where expectations, and there's another little phrase out there that's, expectation is the something, like kind of like the thief, kind of like comparison is the thief of joy. Expectation is kind of the thief of something, but it is kind of, it does, because if you're always expecting and not living in the moment and counting the gifts and counting the blessings. So that's why I'm a big proponent of gratitude journal. I do it year round. I'm counting my gifts every morning. That's one of the first things I do.
That's good. Because a lot of our expectations are unrealistic. They're not even attainable, but they're expectations that we have. And then when they're not met because they're unrealistic, we just go crazy.
Or trying to do what we did before.
There you go.
And maybe our bodies don't operate that way. I know, especially in fitness and things. It was funny because, my son, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get back into my habit of exercising. And I did this one, and I was just like, normally I'd be like, really? And I'd be pushing myself, and then I stopped, and I thought, you know what? This is really strange. I'm not going to do each one perfectly. I'm going to modify. I'm going to do what I can. I'm not going to overly push myself. I'm not going to beat myself up when I don't. And so he caught me like I had done the first round, and then I got a little winded, and I was like walking around like trying to bring my breathing back to normal, and he kind of got tickled, and he's like, "What's up, Mom?" And I'm like, I'm walking it out. I may not be able to do both rounds today, but I got one round in, and I'm walking it out.
That's
things. So not to beat yourself up, small steps.
Small steps.
I can't find it right now, but there's a line in this book also about how what is something small that I do every day that's equally powerful or more powerful than something great I can do one day. That's your habit.
Good.
I'm going to do what I can do today, and it's going to build.
That's
right.
Great. Yeah, because that's what that muscle takes. Whether it's our spiritual muscle, our physical muscle, whatever, the little muscle, it takes a little bit. You don't want to do it, so much where then you're sore and then you just give up, and you don't do it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Small increments. I like that. Yeah.
I like that. Nice. Well, on also New Year, New You. Okay. What are some things that we can let go of expectations like that other people put on us? Not just the ones we put on ourselves.
That's good.
That a lot of people will put
question.
Expectations on us and expect us to do this, and this, and that. So how do you set a firm,
It's a boundary.
That's a boundary. And that kind of fell into my self-care, is me being able to say no more. I need to say no more to take care of myself and my family and feel good about it and be okay. But boundaries for me is going to be very important for my self-care for this year.
Are you at a place in your head with that where saying no to someone asking you to do something is saying yes to yourself and your family and your care?
I'm learning that, yes, because that's really what it is about. Because if I'm saying yes to you all the time, then I'm saying no to something that maybe is very important to me or my family. So our yeses and our nos are very important.
We have to choose that best yes. We really do. And that's really hard. I mean, I think of the headlines, the Joanna and Chip Gaines that have the big famous
great example.
Show on TV where they do the fixer-upper and everybody loves them, and they have the whole Magnolia Mark and all that stuff, and you think someone would be crazy to give up a lucrative television show, but they're expecting their fifth child, and they know the demands on what that takes on their body week in and week out, or however they do their schedule. And I looked at that and I thought, that's really wisdom. That's really choosing your best yes, but that is letting the expectations expectations
Exactly.
of others not get in.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, that's what
Exactly.
happens.
I'm
The
sure there's a lot of
expectations
pressure
others-
for them.
Pressure, and they're probably saying, you know, how can we help you? How can we, you know, because they're not wanting to lose that, I'm sure. But for them to be bold enough to say, I have to say no to this, even when it's something good. So, you know, that's what ultimately a lot of times choosing our best yes is sometimes we have to let go of some good things so that we can embrace the better.
Absolutely. And sometimes good can become the enemy of the best.
Exactly.
True.
You're right. Good can become the enemy of the best.
That's why it's
good.
so
That's a
important
nugget
to
drop.
take that time to slow down and think through things and get still and quiet so that you're not reacting and saying yes and no and pleasing people. And
Yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah.
You know, and especially with those blank pages for the new year, you want to fill them up and do them. But if you just pause, if we're just pausing and we're really getting a new view on a new year and a new us, is being able, like you said, to set those boundaries, to say, this is not really doing my basket much good this year.
Yeah.
This is kind of tainting the things around it. I'm going to have to pull that out for a season, you know, or I'm going to have to say no to this so I can say yes to me, and trusting.
well, that's what it sounds like for you with the trusting issue with your family. Those are boundaries that I'm hearing you say. So yeah, you're seeing that. And there's seasons where people can be close to us, and then there's seasons where people need to be away from us.
Yeah.
And we're trusting in not only our honoring and our self-care, but I think in order for us to have a new view and a new year and to be new us, you know, new you, ultimately is for us to fine tune, I think, our ears to hear the Holy Spirit to say, you know, let's pause right here. Let's take a moment, because so many times it's that trust, it's that honor, it's that self-care. So whatever it is that you are finding yourself in this new year, don't try to overschedule your new year and your new calendars. Trust the Holy Spirit to unpack your day. Do like Lisa was talking about. Start our day in silence. And if your word's trust, or your word's honor, or your word's a different word, whatever it is, we just hope that you will have the courage to pursue what you want to possess this new year.
Yes.
So take care. Thank you so much for joining A New View each and every week. Stay tuned, because we're going to talk some more about resolutions, but we just hope that you are enjoying A New View each and every week. Take care and Happy New Year.